This is an L sample answer. Keep practicing to build confidence. To try a mock test with these questions, watch our mock test video. The link to the PDF document is in the first comment. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any videos. Let's start off by talking about older people. Are there any elderly people in your family?
Yes, both of my grandparents are still alive. They live nearby, so we see them quite often. They're in their 70s, but still quite active and love spending time with the family.
Can you describe your relationship with older people in your family?
I have a close bond with my grandparents. I visit them regularly, and we often chat about their past experiences. They've always been supportive and give me great advice whenever I need it.
Do elderly people in your country live with their families or independently?
It depends. In many families, elderly people live with their children, as it's part of the culture to care for them. However, some prefer to live independently or in retirement homes if they want more privacy.
What activities do you think elderly people enjoy most?
Many elderly people enjoy simple activities like gardening, walking, or spending time with their grandchildren. Others might take up hobbies like knitting or reading, and some even join social clubs to stay active.
Have you learned any valuable lessons from elderly people in your life?
Yes, I've learned patience and resilience from my grandparents. They faced many challenges in life, but always managed to stay positive. Their advice has shaped how I face difficult situations.
That's the end of part 1. Now we are going to move to part 2. In this part, you will have 1 minute to prepare and then speak up to 2 minutes. Describe a time when you needed to search for information. You should say what information you needed to search for, when you searched for it, where you searched for it, and explain why you needed to search for it.
A time I needed to look up information was when I was planning a family trip abroad. We decided to visit Tokyo for the first time, and I needed to find out about transport, hotels, and places to visit. Since we only had 4 days for the trip, I wanted to make sure everything was well organized. I also wanted to find activities that everyone in my family would enjoy, including my grandparents. I started searching about 2 months before the trip, as I wanted plenty of time to plan everything properly. It was during the summer holidays, so I had free evenings to sit down with my laptop and do some research. I spent several days looking up details, comparing transport options, hotel prices, and attractions to make sure I found the best choices for everyone. Most of my research was done online. I used websites like TripAdvisor and Booking.com to read hotel reviews and get suggestions. I also watched travel videos on YouTube and read blogs to find tips and ideas for places to visit. Google Maps was really helpful for figuring out how to get around the city and see how far everything was. The main reason I searched for this information was to make the trip enjoyable for my family. Since we were traveling with my grandparents, I wanted to avoid any problems and make sure the trip was relaxing for everyone. All the planning worked out, and we had a fantastic time exploring Tokyo together. It's still one of our favorite trips.
That's the end of part 2. Now we are going to move on to part 3. We'll continue discussing the topic of information search. How has the internet changed the way people search for information?
The internet has made finding information faster and easier. Instead of visiting libraries, people now use search engines like Google to access details instantly. For example, students can research assignments online, saving time. However, this information may be fragmented and unorganized, which can harm critical thinking and make it harder to produce a logical assignment.
Do you think people rely too much on technology to find information these days?
Yes, many people depend heavily on technology. For example, they often search for answers on their phones instead of thinking critically. While it's convenient, it can weaken problem-solving skills. Plus, the information found online may not always be true. However, it's helpful for quickly learning about unfamiliar topics.
What are the advantages of using books or libraries for research instead of the internet?
Books and libraries offer reliable and well-researched information. For example, textbooks are checked by experts, so they're trustworthy. On the other hand, the internet can contain unverified content. Libraries also provide a quiet environment for focused study, which helps people understand topics in depth without distractions like social media.
How can someone determine if the information they find online is trustworthy?
People can check if the source is reliable, such as a government website or a well-known organization. For example, if you want to know the GDP of major countries, the International Monetary Fund website is a good choice. It's also helpful to check who wrote the article and ensure the author is an expert on the topic.
Do you think searching for information has become easier or more challenging over time?
It's easier due to the internet. For example, people can Google the nearest restaurant within a minute. However, it's challenging to choose the right answers with so much information available. Many websites show different opinions, which can be confusing. Also, people need to be cautious about false or misleading information.
That's the end of the speaking test. Good job.